Clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Nailed it.
We're
on. Yes.
We're on.
And welcome back to the Decent Human Podcast. What is this? Episode 4?
Episode 4.
There we
Episode
go.
4. This feels good. I feel like we're finally on like a rhythm. We're back. We're together. It's fun. Sometimes.
That's debatable.
When you guys are just bickering the whole time.
We're not bickering the whole time. But
I
it's
feel
good.
like I'm sitting here with like my brothers.
I
I
know.
just argue the whole time.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Like, can
man.
we like big props to Jenny for putting up with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Little golf club here.
Thank you.
Everyone take note of that.
There we go. All right, so sorry about that.
He's learning how to use the
I'm
mic.
know.
sorry, I'm still acclimating myself to the mic.
We're excited because Mike, what's your name? Chris. Chris finally learned how to use his mic, and so we apologize if he gets too close or too far, but he's still learning. He'll get there.
Just give me 10 episodes, something like that. But today we are talking about, who are we talking
We're
about?
talking about this guy.
This
guy,
We're talking about this
Evan.
guy, Evan.
I guess so.
Evan.
Introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Evan Tanaka, and I go by Evan Naka on social media, and I am a photographer, videographer, and I have an agency called Naka Studios based in LA.
And he has a beautiful radio voice.
Yes.
I know we were testing out earlier. So if everything goes bad, I can be on your 102.7 The Bomb.
The fact that you can turn it on like that is just like
Low key,
hilarious.
that's what my career counselor told me in high school I should be, was a radio personality. 'Cause they said
Really?
you got a face for radio.
I believe that.
Okay, Evan, where are you from? Let's start there.
Where am I from? Okay, so originally I am from Hawaii, Oahu.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wow.
Raised in Oahu, and then I moved over to Carmel, California. Shout out to Carmel High Padres. Finished out high school there, and then I kind of bounced around from there. Came down to Southern California for college, and then did grad school up in Oregon, and then ended up ultimately down here.
You were all over the place.
All over the place.
Where did you like the best? Is my question always.
That's pretty tough. So Hawaii will always be home. Like,
Yeah.
have you guys been to?
I have
Yeah.
not.
Oh,
this guy surfs on. Yeah,
I was gonna say.
The only time I've been out there was
Jesus
for your wedding.
Christ.
For your,
He's doing what we asked.
Yeah. But he gets excited because you heard like surfing was on the mark. And it's just like, oh, it's just
I was actually excited about your wedding.
oh, thank you.
That's the only
That's
time
right.
I've been out
That's
there.
right. That's right.
Literally
You wore
for
white
your
to my wedding.
Let's not talk about
Oh my God, can we just talk about this really quickly?
Just really quick.
I wore cream to your wedding.
It was white. Let's call
and your wife, Anissa, flipped.
She didn't like it.
As a bride should on her wedding day when somebody wears white. Like there's like one cardinal rule of weddings.
Unless the invite says.
FYI.
He's no longer allowed at our house.
Can we explain the rule just for everybody out there that's not
Yeah,
familiar with it?
sure. What?
Or just me?
What?
What?
You do not show up the bride.
No, you do not. The rule is you do not show up the bride at her own wedding. So you, generally, no one else wears white.
Yeah, and that's not showing up the bride wearing white. You just don't wear what. Never
But
mind.
also for females, you just don't like wear something so over the top or extravagant to
Yeah,
show up
yeah,
the bride
yeah,
because it's
yeah.
her day. So you,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
See, Jenny gets it.
Where do you draw the line? Like it was cream.
I draw the line at cream.
you
That's the
draw.
line. That's the line.
If you have like white and cream on a color spectrum, nothing in that genre
Thank
do you
you.
wear.
So never cream again.
Like not
Never.
even tan.
Not even this.
All right.
I guess
All
like
right.
if it's a full tan suit, like tan, like almost brown tan.
Like if it's
okay.
brown tent, like khaki.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get away with that. But nah, not what he was wearing. Like, we'll find a picture and
But
we'll throw it
also,
up
didn't
there.
you also say no cameras and he's sitting front row? Front row with his camera in his white suit.
Dude,
Literally making it worse.
I know
Why
we're
would you
on
have
a,
to say
I know
that?
we're on a total tangent here, but this is too funny to like not say. I walked down the aisle. I hadn't actually seen him yet. I walked down the aisle and it's like so heartfelt. It was beautiful. It was just like sunset.
Evan's wedding
It was
day.
Yeah, my wedding. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
He's been
And
looking forward to this his whole life.
Exactly. I'm like waiting to see my beautiful bride come down. I get up to the altar and then I turn around and I look into the audience and it smiles and I see this guy right in front white suit with a camera, just like like a proud father at a ball game, and it was like at his son's rehearsal, and it's just like, and I'm just like, I almost lost it at that point. I was like, I could not believe.
But you can't even be mad at him.
No,
looked
I
at his
couldn't.
face, he's probably so excited.
I was
was
excited.
so
I really was
funny.
excited. I got no photos from that, but I was
Yeah, I
extremely
know.
excited.
I even asked him after the wedding. I was like, "Hey, can I see some of those photos you got?" He's like, "I didn't take any." I was like, "Then why'd you even have the camera?"
Just in case.
Just in case.
Always prepared.
Besides the point.
oh
Thanks.
my gosh. It was a great wedding, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Lovely.
anyways. Hawaii's always home.
Hawaii's always home. I love Carmel. I miss it. I want to go back. Didn't know what I had when we were there. It's just a beautiful place, unlike any other. Oregon was great. I was there mainly for college in University of Oregon. Go Ducks. In Eugene. And then I did work in Monterey for about 2 years in marketing. And then I moved down to LA.
Can we talk about your first job?
First job? Oh, geez.
Was this the marketing?
No.
This is way back.
This is way back. So I don't know if you, well, yeah, you probably know this, but I didn't set out in a career in filmmaking or photography or editing or anything related to this field.
No. We want to go back to the first job.
Oh, like
Mowing
high
lawns?
school job? Mowing lawns?
No, Evan is one hell of a golfer. Like out of nowhere.
Well,
He
I
has
don't
to
know if
keep
I'm a
this-
hell of a golfer.
You golfed for a job?
No, it wasn't.
Sorry,
I
what?
worked at Pebble Beach golf course.
Ooh.
See,
One of my
job,
first
right?
jobs
Yeah.
was I like clean golf clubs and like I would escort guests around Pebble Beach.
He was making more then than he is now.
Basically, the
You
tips
know,
you made there, oh,
That's
amazing.
funny. One of my first jobs was working at a gun club.
Wow.
Not the same thing. Just saying, not the
But I
same.
would like clean the pits and like build the traps.
Oh, that's
so
pretty
like
sweet.
same thing.
Different ball,
different
like-
world.
Yeah, just bullets, balls. Yeah, you know. So that was fun, but I did golf quite a bit back then. But then I did go to school for my undergrad for kinesiology, and that's what I thought I
Can you
wanted
tell
to.
the people what?
Kinesiology is.
Yeah.
Kinesiology is the study of the human body,
Oh.
like anatomy, a little bit of biology. But basically, I wanted to be a physical therapist, an athletic trainer for sports teams.
Wow.
So I went to school for that, did that for 4 years, got a specialty program, got into that, passed, took my boards exam, got hired at a high school as a head trainer, and the first day I quit. And I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life.
Why?
Why did you quit?
It was just, I remember standing on the sideline. I kid you not, it was a D4 school, and I was like, it was also my old high school.
D4
So-
high school.
D4
for
high
California
school.
purposes. Yeah, it's a small school for California
Yeah,
purposes.
and it's just like not ideal, but it was also my old high school.
Yeah.
So it felt weird being back. And I remember standing on the sideline for a football game, and I was just like, the kids would come by like, yo, Trainer Evan, can you tape my ankles? Can you do this? And I was like, no, I can't. I just can't do it. And I was just like, this isn't the life that I want long term. So I quit that day. I remember calling my parents. I was probably like 24 at the time. And I was like, I need to do something creative. I don't know what that means. I just need to do something creative. And so I dropped everything. I had zero experience. And I went and got an internship in marketing at the Monterey Peninsula Foundation, which is the golf course. They put on the golf course at Pebble Beach, or the tournament at Pebble Beach, the AT&T Pebble Beach National Prem. Might be called something different now, but that's what it was back then. And I worked there for 2 years and applied to grad school to get my MBA in Oregon.
That's so interesting.
Yep.
So
I feel like we've talked about this at some point in the past, but
So we can thank little Johnny for asking him to tape his ankle.
That's right.
did you know that I also went to school for athletic training at UND?
Really?
Uh-huh.
I did not know that.
Well, I took the prereqs and stuff,
Yeah.
but I didn't get into the program because I was missing a Spanish credit.
Yeah.
But also because when I was doing like all the training, we would have to go into different sports and like practice with the teams and stuff.
Yep.
But the hockey team and the football team wouldn't let me in the room with the rest of the students. Like as a female that
Oh,
was
I see.
attractive, I had to sit outside and watch while
See, I
they
shot
all.
that.
Wow.
Attractive.
Well, they were like,
No, you're right.
They were like, literally like, you're a
That's-
distraction. You have to watch outside.
Yeah.
And then the rest went in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you're like, no.
Well, shortly after that, I did not get in. And
Yeah.
then that was when my friends were like, you should go in fashion. So then
I can't, like, knowing you now, thinking of you as an athletic trainer.
oh
I'm
my
like,
God, I would have
no.
been like you,
Yeah, just
standing
like-
there and be like, I don't want
I
this.
just, hey, look, props to the people that do it, because athletic training is a hard
It
ass
is, yeah.
job, and they don't get enough credit. But yeah, I just knew I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I would have ended up like you and quitting the first day.
Exactly. But yeah, I worked at that Monterey Peninsula Foundation, and then it took me 2 years to get enough work experience to apply, because I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And an MBA, Master's in Business Administration, is general enough. You can apply it to pretty much anything. So I was like, that's what I'm going to get. And then
How old were you at the time?
that was 25, I think, when I finally
That's cool
got
though,
in.
because like you're what, mid-20s, but you're still
Mid-20s.
kind of like jumping around and
Jumping
tasting
around.
different
I had
ideas,
no
which is
I
idea.
think it's
really cool.
important to note that like you can start over at any
Oh,
time
yeah.
and
it-
still
yeah.
go after
It was a
something else.
complete start over. Like I had it set to, I checked all the boxes, right? But it wasn't for me. So
Yeah.
I started from scratch. And then even when I was in grad school, it's like I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but that's when I picked up a camera for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about it on a different episode, but when I started that athletic brand
Yeah, you
that I
failed,
had,
that you
and
failed.
then that it failed. Thanks a lot again. Still stings. Yeah. But I taught myself to use a camera, taught myself editing, and that's when I was like, this is something that I really enjoy doing. I still didn't see it as a career, because even after I left grad school, I mean, I thought I wanted to work at a creative agency.
Yeah.
But
Well, was this like pre-Instagram, like blow up
like
when you
my
were doing like,
yeah,
you know, like,
I didn't have.
well, not your following. I
Oh.
mean, like in terms of like what you're able to do with the camera, like pre.
This was like at the very like
What,
not the
like
beginning.
what year was this?
This was back in 2017,
Because
2016, 2017.
If it was like pre all this like content area or era of
Mm-hmm. No, it was
like
before.
time,
It was like 2014, 2015.
then
Yeah.
there's like way less you can do with what like being a photographer means. I mean,
Yeah, and it was like, this was back in the heyday of like Peter McKinnon. I mean, he's still a big deal in the space. But people like him, Sam Colder, like they were just paving the way for all the content creators out there. So I watched a bunch of his tutorials, just trying to teach myself how to do things. But yeah, it was still kind of in the beginning phases of like the content creator, like making a career out of doing stuff on Instagram and promoting and marketing it that way, for sure.
So you graduated from Oregon. You used your brand to submit different job titles that you had to different companies.
that what happened?
Yeah. Did we talk about this? Or no?
I was gonna say, how do you know this?
I thought we talked about this on the podcast. We didn't talk about
I don't
it.
know if we talked about
No,
it.
we
Thanks for
haven't.
sharing my
Okay,
secret,
okay.
though. all the places I applied to are now like listening to this, just like, wait, excuse me? Yeah, so okay, thanks. So yeah, I'm gonna
There's
here,
a little secret.
I'm gonna spill
Here's
this.
a tip. This is a tip.
Here's a tip: start a company and just name yourself whatever title you want, and then apply for those jobs. That makes sense. That's pretty much what I did. So like, what I did was I took. So since I had this brand, I would change my LinkedIn based on the companies
were
I was
applying for, right?
applying for. So if I wanted to be a brand manager, I'd be like, I was the brand manager at Fallon. And then if I wanted to work in an agency, I was like the creative director at Fallon. And then it was definitely like 4 or 5 titles that I would change it
Did
to.
it work though? You got a job, right?
I got a job, but not in any of those. They saw right through it. They were just like, no, this guy's full of crap, man. Like I applied to creative agencies. Like I really wanted to work at one, and I didn't get hired at any of them. And so my first job out of grad school was at an investment firm. Totally different.
How'd you feel about that?
Like a failure.
What were you?
No.
What were you doing at the investment firm though?
Marketing. So I was heading up their marketing
I
department.
think I knew you those days, right? That was
Yeah,
when
yeah.
That's when.
we
That's
started
right
working
when
together.
I started.
He was
I met you.
moonlighting. Moonlighting.
I was moonlighting. Exactly.
What's that stand for?
Moonlighting is when you have your 9-to-5 job or your day job, and then at night you're doing something else to better yourself in your career.
Hence
Thank
the
you. Thank you, Evan.
moonlighting.
The moon is out and lighting your career.
All right, back.
But yeah, so I was working at the investment firm. It was a grind. It was a lot. I was commuting from Santa Monica, from Porter Ranch. If anybody knows that commute in 405 traffic, it takes almost like 2 hours every single day.
Is that
one
what
way.
you did today?
And that's what I did today, but it's because I love you guys so much, not because I'm getting paid to be here. It's because I just get to see your smiling faces.
It's the best part of your week. Don't lie.
It is. I was looking forward to it all week, but it was really tough for me during that time. So I think my escape and where I found like some solace and like peace was that at night I got to edit, I got to take photos, and then I was working with you a little bit at Threadbeast, and then I like got my first really big client, which was Morphe, and then they were flying me to store openings almost every weekend.
Yep,
At one
I
point.
remember when you started doing that.
And that was probably the biggest hustle of my life, where it was wake up at like 4:30, commute to Santa Monica, get down there, work out, go to work until 6 o'clock, drive home, get home at 8, and then edit all night, do the same thing Monday through Friday. And then Friday would come, I'd leave from my workplace, go straight to LAX, jump on a plane, fly there, take the red eye, land, shoot, fly back Sunday, edit all day, and then repeat come Monday. And that was about 2 years of my life.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a lot. And
But like worth it in the long run. You have to kind of take assessment, right? Of like, this really sucks, but down the road.
it was like I was willing to do a little bit of that work so that I was able to hopefully get to that career choice that I wanted to. And then finally someone came and offered me a senior content producer at the men's fashion brand. And that's when I made that big decision of like, all right, do I go and stay in the route of finance? Because it was a nice job. Or do I take a gamble and like go really all in on this content creation world, even though it was for a brand, not working for myself yet, but it was just like, this is that big step in that direction.
Foot in the door.
And
Yeah,
that
exactly.
marketing job had like security with, you had everything paid.
What, in
for,
finance?
taken care of.
Or
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like I was making tons of money or anything like that, but it was just like, it was a good job. It was solid health benefits, all that kind of stuff. And then even the job with the men's fashion brand, like it was really good, but I knew probably within like 6 months, I was like, this isn't going to be a forever job either. I know that this is going to lead to something else. I didn't know what that was yet. And then that's when you started hounding me to get on TikTok and everything. And then pandemic hit and it was just, it's all down.
Can we talk about what happened during the pandemic?
Pandemic, yeah.
Well,
This was
What
like a
led-
pivot.
It was a big pivot, like massive
what
pivot.
led into this?
So I guess I was working at this brand and it was going good.
Well, mind you, you got to shoot like big budget commercials. It was giving you experience to be able
Huge,
to like, take
tons of
anywhere
experience,
else.
and that's really where I honed in my skills with product photography, lifestyle photography, video. Got my first real director gig there. I got to shoot a campaign with Steve Nash. I directed and produced it. I strategized it. It was really good. It went really well. Got picked up on ESPN. It was a home run in my book, especially for never doing anything like that. So huge experience points from there. But then, like before the pandemic hit, you are the one that actually like told me to get on TikTok and all that. So I started sharing some behind the scenes. Pandemic hit, and then it was a men's shoe brand, dress shoe brand.
No one's wearing dress shoes.
No one's wearing dress shoes. It's like sweatpants and Crocs.
Crocs probably did real well.
Crocs did amazing.
Shout out to Crocs.
But shout out to Crocs. We would love some Crocs under these tables. But it was just, so basically a majority of the company got laid off. And that's when everything changed for me.
What was your mindset then? Like, because this is before TikTok took off. So like, what was going through your head when you're like, I have nothing?
Depression, like deep, utter depression of like, even though it was an okay time to get laid off because everybody,
you weren't alone in it.
I wasn't alone.
And I think we were all depressed.
And we were all depressed. Like you couldn't
real.
see anybody. And I'm not gonna lie, there was like a nice 2-week period where it was like it was okay to be unemployed.
Yeah.
And you could like drink wine and like
All
not
day.
do anything all day. And
But
like
then
not have
after
to
2 weeks,
change.
you're like, this
And I was like,
not anymore.
exactly. And like my life is just like escaping and going by, and the darkness of depression is setting in, and I need to get out of it. And so that's when I started shooting in the garage. And
How
so,
did you come to that? Like, what inspired that?
literally, I just had to make a deal with myself of like, I need to get out of a funk. I need to be creative. I need to do something. Also, didn't make things easier. Anissa and I had just moved into a new house.
Yeah.
We had purchased a house. We were super excited. Pandemic hit. We got fired. How am I going to afford this house?
Yeah.
I was freaking out. So it was like, I pretty quickly was like, all right, I need to make a deal with myself. If I'm going to start to keep doing photo, because it was like something I'd wanted to be doing of like working for myself. I made a deal with myself every time I went grocery shopping. we would go down like a candy bar aisle or something. And I'm like, all right, whatever I buy in here,
And
I
you
have
do
to
something
shoot
with
it before I could eat it.
Oh,
and
that's
so,
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
cool.
and
That's
so
how that.
I held myself to it, and that's why I shot with all food in the beginning. So it was like Kit
Oh,
Kats,
yeah.
cupcakes, Oreos, cookies. Like it was all those foods that I just comfort foods.
and then you just come up with a
And
concept.
I'd come up with a
and then
concept.
you would do like the BTS of
And do the
how that
BTS
was
and
made.
share how I did
And that
it,
stuff
that's
blew up.
And then that stuff got picked up, yeah. And that was in the early days when not as many behind the scenes videos for like that kind of stuff were out there. It was still at the beginning of that. Now you see them everywhere, but I think that's really what took off and people really liked
Yeah.
it.
And that kind of puts you in a niche, right? Like, because there's not a lot of people that are actually showing that skill
Not
set.
as well, I think,
Yeah.
as he is,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's you're
I
getting
think especially back then.
you're getting like this behind the scenes look of how things are made, but it's also really well done.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Aw,
you're welcome.
thanks, guys. Well, she said it. You didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think people really liked seeing the approachability
Yeah.
of like how I went about my photo shoots, where it wasn't like in the beginning I didn't have all the fancy equipment. I didn't have the big lights. I didn't have the nice cameras. I had a camera, a tripod, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I used things around my house to like just make the shot.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my first shots that I did was White Claw, and that really took off.
Yeah.
And I used things from my kitchen grate. I used fishing wire. I used like 2 different types of stands that were just like laying around the house, and I just used everyday things. I didn't have flash. I just had like flashlights going at it. Yeah.
Well, you know them.
Yeah.
Jeremy and Matthew said that they were watching one of your videos even recently, and they're like watching, and then you do that like the finished product, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Because they're like, I don't get it," and then like you finally get to the end, and
Yeah.
you're like, "How did you do that?" Well, they just saw, but you
Yeah,
know.
it just like it comes together, and it's. I think that's something I always talk about and preach about is like it doesn't matter outside the frame. All that matters is this.
Yeah.
And in my personal like view of photography, I don't care about everything else. I don't care what the set looks like. I don't care what kind of lights we're using. I don't care about any of that. As long as I'm capturing what I want in frame, that's all that matters to me.
Do you have
That's
a,
why I'm a whirlwind whenever I take photos. John can attest.
do you have
I'm like a tornado. Everything is just destroyed behind me, but we got the shot.
do you have a creative concept when you go into it? Like a lot of this,
Yeah.
is it just over time, the repetition, understanding like where you're gonna
a lot of
execute?
it, a lot of it develops along the way. Like I'll have like an idea of what I want to shoot. Like, oh, I'm gonna take a photo of White Claw, and then I'm gonna throw some water at it, and that's the nugget of the idea. And then it'll develop like, oh, I'm gonna hang cherries because it's missing something. And then, oh, I want water coming from multiple directions.
Yeah, like once you get in, it's like a whole lot of
Yeah,
trial and error.
Exactly. And then, so I think that's something really good for creators out there too, is like, just because, like, get a nugget of an idea when you're going into something, but be super open to change.
Yeah, just go in and play.
Exactly. Go in and play. Exactly.
Get in the game.
Couldn't have said
Get
it
in
better
the game.
myself. Because, well, it's like even a lot of creators nowadays, and I've talked to a lot, and they're like, you know, I get in my head and I'm thinking of all these different ideas, and then they get like creator numbness, if that's a phrase, where it's just like they're so full of different ideas, they don't know where to start.
Chris, have you ever had that?
Oh yeah, all the time.
You get creative
Yeah.
numbness.
No, it's not even that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I have these ideas, but then I don't go and execute them. Like
Yeah.
the one thing I respect the most about Evan, well, I respect a lot of things, but
One of them.
Evan, one of them is that Evan
He's
is so
crying.
consistent, regardless of what it is. He'll just continue to keep putting stuff out there and putting stuff out there. And for me, that's hard to do. Like,
Yeah.
And but he's just,
You do put a lot of thought.
I put a lot of
Yeah.
thought, but that's just.
Does that like hold you back how much thought, and then you don't do as much, do you think? Or
Yeah, to a certain extent, but I also outsource instead of execute it on my own. So those
Yeah.
are
You
are
also
two
have to
different.
deal with that, yeah.
So you're kind of dealing with a different beast, but like your execution allows for your growth to grow at a much
Because you
faster
can
rate
just do it
because
yourself.
you're able to just like do it, put it out there, keep it moving, do it,
Yep.
put it out there, and
And I think, never want to take away from like the quality that people want to hold themselves to. And I absolutely agree. Like make quality shit.
For sure.
But at the same time, if your quality is getting in the way of you doing anything, something is better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to learn, you're going to get better. else you're going to hold yourself back. Because there's been plenty of times where even I have an idea. I'm like, I get so far down the line of like, oh, if I need to shoot this and then it has to go this way. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I get paralyzed and I can't, I just stop. And that'll stop any creator from actually progressing and moving forward.
Just go in and try and
just
like,
go in and try.
Because
it.
now you have so many different things that you have during the week. It's like you have to execute. You have no like alternative.
Yep.
You have to execute,
Like-
turn it in, and keep it moving.
Exactly. Like now, since my schedule is pretty hectic, it's like I'll set aside 2 hours on a Wednesday and just be like, this is my creator time, and I'm
this
just gonna
is
go and shoot something.
my Decent Humans podcast.
This is my
time.
Decent Human Podcast.
is
No, I have to
my
block
Jenny
off an
and Chris
entire
time.
day because Chris has to go catch waves in the morning. Then we got to push it back an hour. And then Jenny's got meetings because she's so important. And so then I'm sitting here with John eating burritos and we're just being like, hey,
At
we're
least-
just here hanging out.
At least then you got some relax time.
Exactly. And I love hanging out with John. So, but yeah, that's kind of my story. And now we're here and it's been insane to see the growth basically starting from the garage. And now we just wrapped this shoot with Wells Fargo.
Chris, did you see they had Walkie Talkies?
We had Walkie Talkies.
Wow.
Love Walkie Talkies.
Wait,
Walkie
but
Talkies are
what was
legit.
your specific role in this?
I was the director for this one.
with
So
the
now
Walkie
you've moved up
Talkies.
to
I've moved up to
directing.
so now I'm like actually
You're
getting
like-
asked to direct commercials
Oh, wow.
and actual spots. So
I'm gonna bring it
that's-
back to the Walkie Talkies. I was like, how
No,
can
we get grays over the Walkie Talkies. I also bought. Oh,
How can we use Walkie Talkies in the
You want to
podcast?
hear the
is what I
best
wanna know.
best
Yeah.
thing about that is that those walkie talkies I bought, which were very expensive because I was so pumped to use them. I was like, I love walkie talkies.
Why are they not here today?
Yeah, that's
I
what
thought about bringing them.
I literally DM'd him. I was like, "Can we use these? Like, can I go in the bathroom?"
We
and-
can because they're still brand new because the brand provided their own walkie talkies. So I didn't get to use my walkie talkies and they're just sitting there just crisp and clean. And I do like them. So I got earpieces and everything. Oh, they're fucking legit.
It's like official.
Next
it's-
week we need walkie talkies.
Oh,
Yeah.
you'll see
Even
it.
we'll just do a clip.
But yeah, it's exciting to see where it's come from to where it's how far it's gotten in a very short amount of time. We're working with amazing brands and amazing people. And even the people around me have been like branching off and doing bigger and better things. So
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting.
That's the cool thing about LA is that you kind of come up in the last 5, 6, 7 years that we've been here and see just people grow from
Yeah.
like I'm not saying nothing, but grow over
I mean,
time to be able to
It
work
feels
with
like
like a
it's
lot of these
nothing.
cool brands.
When you start
seriously.
out.
You start out and
Yeah.
like you have no relationships, you don't work with any brands, and all of a sudden it's
Dude,
like
yeah, it's all, and you said it right there. Like these relationships, I will attest. There is nothing more important in becoming a content creator, director,
Yeah, for sure.
talent, whatever it is all about the relationships. you
Biggest
build.
thing.
100%.
I would say skill set actually comes second to that, just
Yeah.
because,
You
Yep.
are your relationships in this industry.
100%. And if you burn those bridges in a bad way, yeah,
That can like drastically affect you in
Exactly.
the long term.
okay, so you're here now. What's the vision?
and
going
I'm so
forward?
happy right here.
There is
my
no
people.
Is it just
nothing
the
past
podcast?
it.
The podcast is going forward?
this is the
This is
pinnacle.
it.
This is it. It doesn't get better,
Yeah,
guys.
we-
We've hit it.
We peaked.
I peaked. Decent Humans Podcast is the final chapter. No, I think this is a piece of that chapter. Who knows what it will be in 10, 15 years, but it's like at this point where, I can have Naka Studios, we can have Decent Humans, we can have different, I can have different aspects of my career going that all kind of work towards that common goal, which is being a content creator, whatever that actually means nowadays. In my world, it's being a director, agency owner, podcast person, host. And a thought leader in this industry.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
later.
we threw that out there. Yeah.
I had that in my back pocket. Hold on. Let me tuck that note away. Thought leader.
Dang.
Yeah.
On that note.
On that note,
On that note.
Thanks for having me, guys. That was really fun.
Thank you for joining us
Yeah,
today.
it was a pleasure. I will see myself out and let me know if you need any.
John, can you walk him out, please? Yeah, just make sure you just
Escort
red
the
car-
talent
Yeah,
to
escort the
stage
talent, please. He's not used to this, so.
No, I'm not. This is exciting. Yep.
And that's it.
thanks everyone. This is Decent Humans Podcast, and we will be back next time.
Stop hitting your mic.
Before this, I was like, how many times you bet I'm going to hit my mic?
17. See you guys.